Hallo und herzlich willkommen zurück zu einer weiteren Folge Fails the Night Remastered. Das dritte Mal, wo ich sage, dass das potenziell jetzt die letzte Folge sein könnte. Jetzt soll ich einfach mal damit aufhören. Auf jeden Fall befinden wir uns immer noch im finalen Kampf. Shiro schreit gerade ein bisschen rum. I desperately leap out of the mess of black mud. I can hear his surprise. My throat is burning. Every breath is like swallowing glass. I don't care. Tears of frustration stream down my face. I might just burst from sheer anger before the curse can tear me apart. I push my body, forcing it to run. One hand goes behind my back. I grip the dagger I've been concealing this whole time.
あれから逃れたかと思えばその短絡思考もはや万策尽きたというところか
Shut your damn mouth. I've never had a plan in the first place. I run. Kotomine sticks his hand onto the waterfall behind him and draws out another lump of darkness.
手はサーバントの後を追うがいい先の光はセーバーが破れたものだお前にはもはや誰の助けもない
There's no more hesitation now. If I get my hands on Kotomine, he will regret what he's just said more than anything else. I still have a command spell on my left hand. I don't know if I'm alive or dead, but that is the proof and I can feel the truth of it. As long as I still have my command spell, Saber is still with me. If she's still here, she must have defeated Gilgamesh and be headed to me right now. And if I don't greet her with open arms when that happens, well, I know her enough to know she will be mad. So I'm going to beat you here now, to fulfill the promise I made to her. Darkness closes in on me. Kotomine releases a giant mass of curse. My body begins to crumble, starting with the extremities. I won't look away. If this is my rule, I'm not done yet. A fold line split space itself. With a flash of light and a roar of wind, Ea releases a vortex of pure destruction. This sheer intensity prevents Saber from using a noble phantasm. So she lowers her sword and lets herself sway as if collapsing. The light draws near. Saber is too injured to dodge and there's no shield capable of defending against Ea's attack. The furious dance of light and wind can only annihilate everything in its path. Nothing can stand up to Ea. It is an immutable fact. Both of them knew it to be true, a few hours ago. For once, that astonished cry comes not from Saber but from the golden knight wielding Ea. Ea continues to release its torment of magic energy, unleashing a ravening beam of destruction. But Saber is on her feet, stepping into the light of Ea's power. Her silver armor screams, cracks, splinters, every layer of magic energy protecting her, with not a second to lose. She closes the gap between herself and Gilgamesh. To counter Ea's destruction, Sarah releases every drop of power at her command. Searching heat scorches the earth in all directions in a brilliant flash of light. Two titanically powerful swords clash, their power so vast it creates a visible border as the two struggle against each other. But is it all for nothing? Excalibur cannot beat Ea. Even if Saber risks her life and attacks without concern for the consequences, she can only push them back just the smallest bit. The scales tilt in favor of Ea, and Excalibur's light weakens, pushing Saber back. The Golden Knight draws Ea back, but then sees his enemies in renewed reckless advance, so he pours yet more magic energy into Ea. There's no turning back now. All there is to do is use his full power to utterly annihilate Saber. Air segments spin faster, reaching the maximum speed in the light that envelops Saber's cuts Excalibur down. But in the instant before that happens, Saber charges. A tiny opening created by Saber's power allows her to take a single step closer. In the instant she reaches that space, a novel phantasm appears. Darkness buffs Shiro as if he were caught in a wind tunnel. There is no avoiding or deflecting darkness, the cold space itself. Those swallowed by the darkness can only be consumed by it. He is corroding from fingertips inward. His legs kick at the stairs and at the air as if swimming. His outstretched arms were swallowed up in the black mud. His vision fails him. It's like being erased. Shiro feels himself shrinking, but she refuses to die. He tries not to look away, pours every ounce of strength he has into resisting. He fights the darkness covering him, the pain trying to melt his body, and the curse trying to dissolve his mind. It's all in vain. No human could resist this corruption, and yet he continues to move. His arm is still raised, held out, trying to grab something, but his heart is already broken. His thoughts are smothered in darkness, and soon it will consume him. But in that moment, you are my... Why did you remember that voice? A light in the darkness. The moment he realizes it's that light, everything runs in reverse. The switch flips. His thoughts gain speed, creating crackling sparks, and form the shape with astonishing speed. Trace on. The murmurs is made to begin projection. In that instant, it is complete, skipping every step of the manufacturing process. He didn't need to reproduce it from scratch. The shape had already been engraved onto his very soul. It had been a part of Shiro Emiya for so long that he had perfectly memorized it. Hat einfach mal ihre Schwertscheide nachgebaut. His fingertips desperately reaching movement again. They grab hold of the object he recreated without concentration or spellcasting. The world tilts on its head, darkness eradicated by golden light, and Shiro's grasp duplicated flawlessly, a SevSev. And so, as Ea's all-destroying light burns away everything in its path, Saber releases her own noble phantasm. What appears before is without a question the sacred sword Sev. The mystiques which shroud it are unknown, but the Sev repels Ea's light. No, this is beyond simply defending its wielder. Instead, it cuts her off completely. The wall that keeps the filth of the outside world from fairyland, a world that cannot be reached, forever isolated from the rest of the world. Saber is protected by the sheath of the sacred sword, and for a moment she exists apart from all reason and logic in this world. It is the greatest protection in the world. Nothing, not even the 5 magics, can pierce this perfect defense. And so, the sheath is named Avalon. Avalon. It is the place King Arthur said to have gone after dying, the utopia the king dreamed of, but could not yet reach. Gilgamesh sees the Grim Reaper raising its skiff. But it's too late. Ea won't stop rotating and Gilgamesh can't retreat. How could he? Who could ever have believed an attack with so much magic energy, such unimaginable power, could ever be blocked? A streak of blue surges forward. Saber's armor is gone. She has shed her armor, so she can use its magical energy in her sword. Treffer versenken. The moment he takes the sheath, the darkness is dispelled. The darkness surrounding Shu Emir, the darkness that contaminated his body fades all at once. But this should come as no surprise. The sacred sword sheath protects its owner. That filthy mud could not possibly destroy the embodiment of the Utopia, the girl's sword. He runs. In the instant the darkness is dispelled, he moves with all the speed of a comet. The priest is so assured of his own strength, and the boy, who could afford no such arrogance, face off. It is but an instant, but that instant decides a battle. Kire Kotomine! Shire Emir runs, sometimes stumbling onto all fours. In one hand he holds the dagger. He scrambles forward in his hands and leads towards the priest. Shiro doesn't stop. He thrusts the dagger of retribution into the priest's chest. The priest turns slowly, before he can leave. Shiro steps down 1 foot to ground himself and turns in a circle using the momentum of his dash. He inverts himself like a top and he floods his left hand with magical energy. And like a whirlwind. Das ist ein geiler Move. Last. His magical energy powers into the other blade, along with the world to trigger its release. Saber swings her golden sword. She must not have had the energy to push herself back up. Saber keeps her swords down, head down. Gigamesh stares wide-eyed at the knight as she cuts him in half. In the silence after the wind whispers through the compound, there remains not a trace of light that had flooded the area seconds ago. The two knights do not exchange words, they simply stand facing each other as the battle ends. Gigamesh sighs. He lifts a hand and traces a finger along her neck, as if to check the knight. His golden armor begins to fade. The bloody king of heroes starts to disappear. His finger slips away from her. The arm he had raised to touch her falls weakly. He clicks his tongue in displeasure, and then at the end, he smiles ironically and vanishes. Pale blue sparks flicker along the priest's form. They spread in all directions from where the dagger protrudes from his chest. No flesh falls away, and there is no sign of bleeding. Even so, the battle comes to an end. He is not even looking at me. Instead, he stares down at the dagger in his chest in confusion. The wind is blowing. A gust of wind blows from the hollow overhead, muffling the sound around him. In the silence that follows, Kotomine's voice is low and mumbling. It's not mine. Tosaka lent it to me. I am not sure how long he was thinking. He takes a deep breath and finally moves, having been motionless from the moment I charged him and impaled him with the blade.
以前気まぐれでどこぞの娘にくれてやったことがあった。あれは確か10年前か。なるほど。私も衰えるはずだ。
Kotomine collapses. I watched it all unfold. Even on the brink of death, he spoke of himself as if he were talking about someone else. Finally, the priest sinks into that which he summoned, the very thing he wished for. And that is the end of Kire Kotomine. The true end of a long battle. With the enemy defeated, only one task remains. The dark hollow in the sky. The mud has stopped pouring from it, but that eerie void continues to quicken. It's the Holy Grail, the omnipotent grail said to be given to the winner of this war. The wind holds. With Kotomine gone, the power binding Ilia vanishes. Ilia's been released from the hollow, and now she sleeps beside me. She doesn't seem to be in danger of dying. She will probably wake up after we go home and have Tosaka look over her. The war has ended. No one else will get hurt. We won't have to lose anyone else now. No more masters, and the servants will disappear now that the rules are over. I knew this was going to happen. I climbed those long stairs with her earlier. We've already said our goodbyes. All that is left to bring the curtain down on this cruel war. I look up at the hollow and wait, my heart as empty as the void. And then she appears. She walks straight towards me, looking no different than when we first met. She stops once we are close enough to touch each other. We neither ask about each other's well-being, nor offer any congratulations. This has already been decided. There's only one thing left to do.
聖杯を破壊します。それが私の役割です。
Saber starts walking forward. The strong winds coming from the hollow do not deter her. She approaches one step at a time. She is within range. She quietly readies her sword and looks up at the black hollow. I judge what's from where I stand. I clench my fist so I bleed. I bit my lip, and I try to hold back the feelings fighting for expression. I try to burn the image of her into my mind, and then...
Master, 命令を。あなたの命がなければ、あれは破壊できない。
Her back still to me. She tells me to use my final command spell. When the Holy Grail is destroyed, Saber will disappear. No, since Saber will destroy the Holy Grail with her own hands, she won't have to become a servant. She only became a servant because she sought the Holy Grail. Destroying the Holy Grail should also avoid a conflict, since she will have to choose to do it. The moment she destroys the Holy Grail, her life will end, but she will remain king forever. She...
あなたの声で聞かせてほしい。
I hear Saber. Every time I hear her voice, I want to scream. I want to tell her not to go. I want to scream my real, honest desire. I want her to stay. And yet, I can't ever say that. I love Saber. I want her to be happy more than anything else, and I want to be with her forever. But if I really love her, that's not what I should be doing. I love Saber for fighting her hardest even when she was wounded. She gave up everything, and while she was torn apart, she still held to her conviction even to the very end. I think that is beautiful. If I think that is something worth protecting, then I can't destroy everything she stood for just for my own happiness. She was born a king, and that's how she lived. Nothing can change that. From the moment she drew the sword and made her vow, she was king, nothing else. That is her conviction. She fought her battles until the very end, believing she was doing the right thing. The dream of a young girl named Altria. She abandoned her own life and chose to be king. She chose to fight. Even when she was told that everything she does would go unrewarded, she still wielded the sword and kept to her vow as a king. That lasted for many years. I can't do anything to tarnish the pride she had until her final moments. Saber, fulfill your duty, please. My voice is heavy with emotion. Light flares around us. The brilliant ray cuts the hollow in front of us in half, leaving no trace of it. Nothing remains. The mountain's summit has been blasted away, leaving only a smoldering wasteland behind. In the distance, the first rays of dawn light the sky. A glimmer of gold peeks over the horizon. My left hand hurts. The final command spell disappears. And then, I accept that it is finally over.
これで終わったのですね。
Yeah, this is the end. There's nothing left.
そうですか。では私たちの契約もここまでですね。あなたの剣となり、敵を撃ち、近江を守った。この約束を果たせてよかった。
Yeah, you did well, Saber. I don't know what else to say. Saber is far away. I don't try to run to her. The sun rises. The wind starts to pick up. A golden glimmer shines, seeming to last forever. In it,
最後に一つだけ伝えないと。
I can hear the determination in her voice. Yeah, what is it? I try and at least sound strong. Saber's ways. Oh. She turns. Saber looks straight at me and says, her voice clear.
シロ、あなたを愛している。
Oh. She said it. The wind blows over the mountain top. For a moment, I close my eyes, blinded by the morning sun. Then I open them again. I don't think I was surprised. I just had a feeling. Our goodbye was always going to be like this. All I see is the wasteland. Saber's gone, carried off by the gusting wind. Just like when she appeared. She left with grace, without a trace. Yes, that's so like you. There are no regrets in my voice. Every memory, both of what I've lost and of what I've gained, remains in my heart. I will keep them all forever. I look out at the rising sun, hoping I never forget any of this, that none of it fades from my mind for a long time to come. I watch the morning glow spreading over the distant land below. It reminds me of the golden fields she had fought on. So. Damit sind wir jetzt im Epilog. I hear a creaking sound. It's the old, heavy rusted door of the shed opening. Light pours in through the crack in the door. It's enough to wake me up. Oh, I don't even need to look to know who's approaching. Sakura. It must be that time already. I take a deep breath and open my eyes. I see that. Morning, Sakura. Thanks for waking me up. Got it. So how come you came all the way out here to wake me up? Oh, then I remember. That's right, it is a special day. Sakura, I don't think I've even need to ask, but Fujine is not here yet, right? I knew it. If Ilya's here, then that can mean only one thing. Crap, sorry Sakura, but I need you to take care of breakfast this morning. I'm going to go and wake Fujine up. Luckily, I was up late last night, so I'm still in my working clothes. I'm glad I don't need to change to head out. I will be back in 10 minutes. You're in charge of the house until then. Yeah, I just woke up. I'm going to wake Fujine up, so go help Sakura with breakfast. I pat Ilya on the shoulder and head to the front entrance.
やられた。もうシロは私が起こしに行くって言ったでしょ。さくら
Oh, jeez. Ilya fumes at Sakura as she stomps over to the shed. This sort of thing is hardly unusual anymore. Ilya said she wasn't going to return to her home country, so I talked to Fujine about taking her in. She was vehemently opposed and suggested that she would take in Ilya at her house. Since then, Ilya has been staying at the Fujimura house, and of course he has been coming over with Fujine mornings and nights. It goes without saying that they are coming for breakfast and dinner. The two have been living together for 2 months now, and they are practically joined at the hip. When I pass near the shed wall, I hear Sakura and Ilya talking. Ilya is pretty blunt, so I thought she wouldn't get along with Sakura, but that doesn't seem to be the case. They're like an odd couple. Ilya is energetic while Sakura is more laid back. It seems they get along in spite of the differences. In fact, Sakura has regained her usual cheer thanks to Ilya. Ever since Sakura's older brother Shinji disappeared and was listed as missing, she had stopped smiling. She must have sensed that he had something to do with the mass coma incident at school. Fretting over Shinji, Sakura shut herself away. It was Ilya who forced her to get over it, and Sakura is her normal cheerful self whenever she is with Ilya. Yep, Sakura is smiling again. I'm truly happy about that. Sakura is most herself when she is smiling at that gentle smile of hers.
ひどいよ、イリアちゃん。何があっても起こしてって臨時ボーナスまであげたのに。
Oh, wie geil. Fujine is in tears as she shovels breakfast into her mouth.
当然よ。タイガーを待ってたら私まで遅れるし、給金分は義理を果たしたわ。あれ以上の働きを要求するなら、臨時じゃなくて基本給をアップさせることね。私だけじゃなくおじいさまからももらってるくせに、どうしてこの子は主戦度なのかしら。若い頃からお金にうるさいと周りの子に嫌われちゃうぞ。
Ich bin gerade am Überlegen, ob sie älter als Fujine ist. Also ich weiß ja, dass sie älter als Shiro ist, aber...
嫌われて結構よ。好きな人以外なら何を思われても関係ないもの。それよりタイガー、貸したお金ちゃんと返してよね。給料日5日前だったんでしょ。
Ilya's a loan shark.
知ってるのよ、あなた。タイガに聞いたわ。お望みなら明細まで話してあげてよ。
Ilya grins wryly. Unlike her more friendly relationship with Sakura, Ilya and Tiger are practically cats and dogs. Ilya gets really mean with Fujine. Even her smile reminds me of a certain...
返済は明日までね。できなかったらタイガのお小遣いから引いていくから。おじいさま、そんなことまであなたに話したの？ええ、お昼はずっと一緒だもん。タイガね、タイガより可愛いって褒めてくれたわ。どうしてくれるのよ、シロ。この子とんだ悪魔っ子じゃない。このままじゃ藤村組が乗っ取られるわ。
More importantly, why does a grown woman still get an allowance from her grandfather?
いってらっしゃい、シロ。今日は早いんでしょ。ならここで待ってるからすぐに帰ってきてね。
Yep, I will try. Take care of the house, Ilya.
いっそのことここの子になっちゃえ、バカ。
Fujine strikes as she hides behind my back.
はいはい、タイガも気を引き締めなさいよね。外でシロに迷惑かけちゃダメなんだから。
Ilya shrugs off Tiger's comment. Looks like Fujine isn't really in a position to push back against Ilya.
じゃあ先に行ってるけど、のんびり歩いて遅刻しちゃダメよ、シロ。
Fujine lets out an engine roar and disappears like a speeding bullet. She got her driver's license last month. Since then she has been late for school a lot less often. But now she has a new nickname, Rocket Tiger, Rocket Diver. She's the only one who doesn't know about it. Whew. I stretch and take a deep breath. Sakura already left for school. She ate a pretty big bowl of rice this morning, so she must be pretty driven today. Today is a big day for the Kyoto Club. Now that she is the vice captain, Sakura must be really determined and enthusiastic today. Alright, I should go to school too. Today is April 7th. Schools are starting to a new school year, and the season has gone from the cold of winter to spring. It's been 2 months. I feel like a lot has changed since she left, but the changes all seem minor. Winter's over and it's finally spring. That's the only thing that has changed. I might have grown and matured, but I am not a different person or anything. So, not that much has changed. Shiro Emiya still clumsily stumbling along in Kitsuru's footsteps. Hey there, nice weather we have today, Tosaka. A waving greeting, but is this really a coincidence? We run into each other almost every day. Well, sure, we never ran into each other that often before. Tosaka narrows her eyes and glares at me, unhappy about how I phrased that. I don't think getting angry so early in the morning is good for you. Tosaka, did you start leaving your house earlier? You always arrived later, you were never early or late to school. Huh? That's news to me, then I guess that's not so surprising. Wait a minute. That's only possible if our day scales are the same. For Tosaka to reach this intersection at this hour, she would have to wake up at 6 in the morning. But that is... Tosaka, you must be exhausted. I just come right out and say it. Well, because you're not a morning person. If you go to school while you are half asleep, your goody two-shoes front might collapse. You would be a goner if you fell asleep in class. If someone woke you up, you would go berserk and they see your true terrifying face. Like, who dares disturb my slumber kind of terrifying. Oh, so you did wake up earlier than usual. Sie ist ganz anders als ihre Schwester. Tosaka huffs and looks away. She has a point, so I'm going to let this go and just resume our walk to school. We walk up the hill. The townscape below has bloomed into a springtime scene. The breeze is pleasant and the leaves of the cherry blossom tree planted near school dance on the wind from time to time. It makes me smile. No, I got a day off today. I heard the Kyoto Club was holding a welcome party for the new members, so I figured I would bring Ilya to hang out. Isn't that bad? Ilya seemed bored, so I thought this would be a good distraction. I'm grateful to hear her say that. Tosaka understands Ilya much better than Sakura or I do. It's not just that she periodically checks in on Ilya's health. Tosaka and Ilya are both proper mages. Ilya still doesn't fully understand that she needs to hide the fact that she is a mage, so Tosaka has been a great mentor for her in that regard. And so, things are starting to settle in their respective places. The new priest that Shirts dispatched has already repaired most of the damage from the Holy Grail War, and we've more or less gone back into our ordinary lives. There are things lost that we can never get back, yes. But the wounds are slowly healing, and I should be glad to know that some of the regrets I felt before are slowly fading. Tosaka mutters under her breath. She looks down at the town, her tone serious. Huh? What was unexpected?
私、シロはもっと落ち込むと思ってた。しばらくは立ち直れないだろうなって思ってたのよ。
She's talking about the girl who is not with me now. It's been 2 months, and this is the first time we've brought up the golden-haired girl. Yeah, I didn't think I would be able to recover from it either. I was going out of my mind just thinking what might happen afterward.
けど、蓋を開けてみれば、シロったら今まで通りだったでしょ。落ち込むどころの話じゃなくて、次の日にはもうケロリとしてた。その時にね、こいつ大丈夫かなとも思ったのよ。うまく言えないんだけど、次の日にはあっさり事故で死んじゃうような雰囲気だった。
Freaking what? How does me seeming fine end with me dead?
そういうこともあるの。人間ってのはね、何かの手違いで一生涯の目標を叶えちゃうと、それでぽっくりいくものなのよ。もう生きるのはいいやと思った途端、赤信号なのに車が突っ込んできたり、あっさりと階段から落ちたりするんだから。
That's a little hard to get my head around. I guess she's talking about dying after living a full life, or resting in peace maybe.
だから私はそれが心配だった。ああいう時はね、いっそ派手に落ち込んでくれた方が周りは安心するものなの。
What, would you have comforted me if I got all this past?
まさか。背中に蹴り入れて1日で立ち直らせてやったわよ。それができなくて残念だって話。
She turns away displeased. It's so funny, I can't help bursting out into laughter.
何よ、おかしい？
No, you're tough as nails. Line was just so you. It was a relief. We continue walking, enjoying the spring sunshine. The hilly road is long, and it looks as if it continues into the endless blue sky. Then she brings something else up, surprising casually.
じゃあもう未練はないんだ。セイバーがいなくなってもさ。
Her eyes are on the sky as she speaks. Yeah, I don't have any regrets, probably. I'm not trying to put up a front. I even surprised myself with how at peace I sound. Nothing was left unsaid, so I don't regret anything. Everything went into the moment we said goodbye. What I wanted to do, what she dreamed. Maybe we were both stubborn, and maybe I really should have grabbed her hand and made her dream come true. But there was something we both felt was beautiful, and we both desperately tried to protect it until the very end. I have no regrets, as she probably ended her time. I can't let myself be stuck in those memories forever.
シロの中では決着をつけたってことね。だから落ち込むこともなく、思い出に浸ることもないってわけ。
Yeah, but I still dream about her. I'm going to remember her for the rest of my life. One day my memories of her will fade, and I will forget her voice and her mannerism. But still, I will never forget what happened, or that I loved her. Tosaka doesn't say a thing, but for some reason she looks elated. She's practically skipping now. What's going on, Tosaka? What's the rush? Did something happen?
別に、ただ早く学校に着きたいなって。さあ、そういうわけだからシロも急ぐ。のんびりしてると置いてくわよ。
She turns around and starts to run up the hill. What the hell? Why would she push herself when she is not a morning person? I grumble, then sling my bag onto my shoulder and run to catch up. It's only 7:30 in the morning. It's too early for students who aren't involved in any club activities, but I guess there's nothing wrong with getting to school early. I run up the hilly road that seems to stretch into the sky, and I reach the school earlier than usual. Today is the first day of the school year. If I want to celebrate, I need to shake off my old memories. Remnants of my memory will never go away. But I still need to go on, even if the emptiness in my heart makes me cry. The blue sky is off in the distance. It feels so close. But even if I reached out, I could never grasp it. I've looked to the stars before. There are unreachable stars and unfulfilled wishes. Nothing of ours remains behind. So someday my memories of her, even the image of her face, will disappear. And yet, Even if I can't ever reach her, something will remain in our hearts. There may be nothing physical left, but we both shared time together and looked up at the same things. If I can remember that, I can believe that we are still together, even across such a great distance. Some things are bound to disappear, but others never will. So I'm going to keep running. If I push far enough, I might one day reach what I was aiming for. The new beginnings of spring, after the end of a harsh winter. Ahead up the hill under the same blue sky, she looked up and saw. The battle is over. This is her final battlefield. The battle that split her country in half and ended with the king's victory. The knight runs to her. The battle is over. The blood-red sunset has faded, and now the darkness of night covers the battlefield. The hill is littered with corpses and curses. All that resentment tries to drag the survivors down with it. Through it all, the knight runs, breathless. He grips his horse, reins as the wounded white steed does its best to keep up. The knight and the white horse are the only survivors. Draped over the horse's back is the wounded king. The knight must be wounded himself, but he runs with all his might. The king he serves is on the verge of death. Even after defeating the rival king in single combat, his king sustained a fatal wound. The knight knows there's no hope here. His king will die soon. He calls desperately to his king. Or perhaps the knight truly believes that his king is immortal. So long as they have to the guidance of the sacred sword, the king will never perish. With labored breathing, the knight crosses the mountain of corpses and heads to a forest that has not yet been stained in blood. He knows of his king's immortality, so he believes that if he can only escape this cursed battlefield and lead the king in somewhere pure, the king's wound will be healed, or rather he hopes. Unlike the other knights, he always believed in his king. The king had always been isolated at court, shunned by the knights and feared by the people, but the knight was proud of the young king, who never revealed any personal feelings no matter the situation and always remained idealistic. The knight did not serve his country, and that is why he entrusted his sword to his king, strove to aid his king, and rose to the position of the king's personal guard despite his young age. The king whose true face can never be seen. The boy tried to be fair and selfless, and did not allow his personal feelings to interfere with his duties. Rather, he hoped that if he could someday get close enough, he could see his king's real face. That is his greatest desire. He wants so much to see his king's true face, not the stern countermand the king bore on the battlefield, but his king's true face, a smiling, laughing, human face. That moment would surely come in court, when the king is relieved of all duty. Even the most perfect king cannot be on edge all the time. The knight was proved wrong though. What he learned defied his expectations. He reached the rank of Imperial Guard and stood guard at the king's side. He guarded the king more closely than any knight, and always observed the king's behavior, but the moment he wished for never came. His king never smiled. Why does that make him so angry? The king should radiate glory, having achieved such success, but never once did the king seem at ease, even for a moment. He couldn't stand it. He wanted to believe this shouldn't happen, and so he wished for this king to be rewarded with light. That has yet to be accomplished. The king still remains solitary, and so the knight refuses to accept his king's death. It cannot end here. If it does, this great king will never be rewarded. Once they reach the forest, the knight leans his king's body against a large tree. It's a race against time. Even riding hard on horseback, it will take half a day to bring back the troops they left at the harbor. Any who see the king now would know that the king will not last until dawn.
必ず兵を連れて戻ります。
The knight bows to his half-conscious king and returns to his white
ベ
steed.
リビエル
Yeah, Beliver. Before he can leave, the king, he's thought unconscious, calls out to him.
お、意識が戻られましたか。
少し夢を見ていた。
The king's voice is faint, but there's warmth in it.
夢ですか。
The knight's voice is imploring. The king's life is balanced on the tip of a blade. The darkness will surely take his king if the knight does not respond.
そうだ。あまり見たことがないのでな。貴重な体験をした。
それは。では、どうぞお気遣いなくお休みください。私はその間に兵を呼んでまいります。
A faint gasp. The knight's words must have been unexpected.
何かご無礼な点でも。
いや、そなたの言い分に驚いた。夢とは目を覚ました後でも見れるものなのか。
No,
違う夢ではなく、目をつむればまた同じものが現れると。
Now it's the knight's turn to be surprised. For a moment he is at a loss for words. At length he responds, for he knows there is no truth to what he says.
強く思えば同じ夢を見続けることもできるでしょう。私にも経験があります。
It's not possible. A dream is a fleeting thing, not something to return to. Even so, the knight lies to his king. It's the first and last time he will do such a thing.
そうか。そなたは博識だな、ベリビエール。
The king's soft voice is admirable. The king's head remains tilted down, not looking up at the knight. The king breathes softly that it can be barely audible.
ベリビエール、我が命権を持て。
The knight receives his king's final order.
よいか。この森を抜け、あの血塗られた丘を越えるのだ。その先には深い湖がある。そこに我が剣を投げ入れよ。
おお、それは。
The knight knows what it means. The sword in the lake. They relinquished the sword that had protected the king and served as proof of kingship would mean the end of his king.
行くのだ。ことを成し得たのならばここに戻り、そなたが見たことを伝えてほしい。
The king does not take back orders. The knight takes the sacred sword and goes over the hill, his indecision weighing heavily on him. And so, 3 times the knight hesitates to follow his king's command. The lake looms in front of him, but he cannot throw the sword away. Doing so means his king will disappear. The knight's unwillingness to part with his king stays his hand, and so he returns to his king. Once again the king orders him to throw the sword into the lake. When the knight lies and claims he has thrown the sword into the lake, as ordered, his king simply replies, "Do as I have commanded you." To defy the king's orders is a great sin for a knight, but he has already done so twice. Each time he stands before the lake, he hesitates at the thought of losing his king. No more. When the knight realizes he cannot alter his king's decision on his third visit, he hurls the sword into the lake. The sacred sword returns to the lake. A right hand emerges from the water and catches the blade, and the sacred sword vanishes from the world. And the knight finally accepts it. The end of his king. The responsibilities that had so long burned the knight finally come to an end. By the 3rd time he crosses the hill, the first rays of morning light touch the forest. The ruins of the battlefield now distant. There is no trace of the bloody battle. Only a thin haze covers the hill.
湖に剣を投げ入れてまいりました。剣は湖の夫人の手に。確かに。
At the knight's words, the king's eyes open.
そうか。ならば胸を張るがよい。そなたはそなたの王の命を守ったのだ。
The knight gives a silent nod to that voice, knowing the speaker is on the brink of death. It's all over. Turmoil will continue to grip the nation. The wars will not end. The day of ruin will come soon. But the king's battle is over, because he, or rather she, fulfilled her role till the very end. The light fades. With everything done, the last of the strength that kept her going is spent.
すまないな、ベリビエール。今度の眠りは少し長く。
She closes her eyes, slowly, as if going to sleep. The morning light spills through the treetops. As the king drifts to her eternal rest, a hush falls over the forest. The night continues its vigil over the fallen king. The king he wished for. The solitary king, attended by only a single knight. And he finally sees the look he hoped for on his king's face, a peaceful sleep. In her last moments, the king finally finds the peace that had so long eluded her. The knight is overjoyed. The knight thinks whoever gave his king such comfort, and watches the king with a sense of pride. The heavens are distant and the clear sky is blue. The battle is truly over.
見ているのですか、朝を。
His words ride the wind. The sleeping king appears to sink into the endless blue.
夢の続きを。
Distant dream takes her. The battle is over. Let's put our swords down and rest in the momentary peace. After dozing in a warm dream, a new day will dawn. These days continue on, and we are still following the same star we once saw. Sorry. Das nimmt mich doch irgendwie ein bisschen mit. Das war's dann also jetzt mit Fate Stay Night Remastered. Ich denke, dass ich die anderen Story-Stränge selber privat spielen werde. Aber mich erstaunt ein bisschen, muss ich sagen. Ich habe damit gerechnet, dass jetzt This Illusion kommt als Ending Track noch. Ich habe übrigens irgendwo gelesen, dass wohl demnächst ein Anime zu Witch on the Holy Night kommen wird. Das auch wieder mit Ufotable Da freue ich mich auf jeden Fall riesig drauf. Weil da habe ich ja gesagt schon, als ich das Ding Let's Played habe, davon wäre eine Anime-Fassung echt genial. Damit haben wir diese Story abgeschlossen. Vielen Dank fürs Zuschauen und bis zum nächsten Mal oder nächsten Projekt. Ciao.